Welcome back to part 3 of my world building tips. In part 2, we finished off on the bare minimum, basics that I use as my cultures, skeleton. Go watch part 2 and part 1. They are really helpful for building. Your beginner skeleton. Now that you got your beginner skeleton and the bare minimum, information on this culture as well. As a few things you yourself added into this skeleton to make it your own, it's time for the next step. Expansion, aka muscles, which need a skeleton to stick to, which is why the skeleton was so important. Now take everything in your country sheet and copy-paste it into another document. You might be asking why. Well, because if you lose sight of where you were going with this, or decided to start over, you still have your skeleton to fall back on with all the bare minimum information needed. Now we are going to start adding muscles in this copy of the skeleton. Now I will be giving examples how to build off the skeleton I gave in parts 1 and 2, but use the same logic too. Anything you added to your skeleton? Starting off with climate. Now, given that you possibly filled out your country sheet now, you probably already know the basic climate of your culture. What we are going to do now is slap some muscles on there, which will affect more of your culture. These muscles being 3 things. You should answer 1, how do they get their water, whether you're in a desert, the Arctic, mountains, or an island, you need water. This will also help you to narrow down what time period your story takes place in. You also have to be aware of the different risks involved. Example, if your people get water from, say, snow, you have to be aware that what makes snow so fluffy is that it has a lot of air, so it takes more snow than ice to make 1 cup of water, and you gotta melt it too. If they collect rainwater there, entire house design needs to be built for collecting the water into a tank of some sort. If they get it from wells, rivers, lakes, or anything of that sort, then the entire town will be built. Based on easy access to that water supply, especially in the desert, they also need a way to clean the water. The most common way is to boil the water before you drink it. However, if your people grew up drinking this water, supply, unless there is a new disease, their immune system should be able to handle most of it. But there are many old water filtration systems you can look into. Muscle number 2 for climate is plant life. You can either go basic and just put down plants native to this climate and do minimum research, or you can add new plants to the existing ecosystem or make an entirely new ecosystem of plants from scratch. Depends on the genera you're writing and your will to live. Just joking, mostly. Anyways, if you decide to make any new plants, I suggest starting off with 2 herbs, 3 flowers, a shrub, a berry, and 2 trees, and work these plants into your culture. Like, add that this tree is used by the people as lumber or is burned during the traditional mourning period after a funeral, or that a flower holds a significant meaning in this culture, like it's a bad omen or a symbol of love, like a rose. I highly recommend you research flower language because theoretically you can make a FU bouquet. The third and final muscle, we are slapping on this climate a climate layer. This basically means what details can we add to the climate itself? Example, if you were vague. about the climate and put cold. Don't blame you, we've all been there. Well, what if your climate was a cold desert? Or if you put an actual climate, like a jungle. Well, this just means we add a few mountains, or decide this world simply has no mountains, and the ground is flat. Or it's an underground jungle. Or this world is an eternal night. The trees whisper. The rivers flow backwards. There are valleys. There are lots of cliffs, thus lots of waterfalls. It's an Arctic jungle. A jungle in the middle of a landless desert. You get the picture. Add a little something to the climate that will directly affect this country in some obvious way. Next, add some details to the rough idea of the grand sweeping. Tales of the land that aren't told in the stories, if you choose to use them in the book, these details will be things that your character has to find for themselves that no one else knows about. It will also add a layer of history to your country that you can build on later. That's all for now. Catherine out.